Welcome back, Mr. Goodberry. The First Star Logistics studio is fully equipped and ready to record.
Welcome back to Bengals on the Brain, presented by First Star Logistics. I'm your host, Joe Goodberry. We have 2 weeks, give or take. By the time you're watching this, it is going to be 2 weeks minus a day, 13 days until the NFL draft. We'll be on day 2 at this point, Friday, in 2 weeks. That's exciting. That's fun. We're at that point, which means we are also at the point where the yearly draft spreadsheet that I lead, we don't have a great name for it. It's not like the Beast with Dane Brugler. We like to come up with something cool, but it's just the draft sheet as it's been named by people that reference it. And it's a great resource for the draft season, for when we get to, sometimes it happens in day 2, hopefully not, but when we get to day 3 and we're not sure of who these players are, you click on the link that is below here in the comments and use it for all of draft season. We're going to dive into it, though. If you're familiar with it, you know what I'm talking about already, so I'm really not setting it up. If you're not familiar with it, it's had good success. It takes data, film grades, consensus grades, and tries to give you one number for how strong a prospect's chances are. It's really supposed to present risk. If a guy has a low score, it means he has a lot of risk factors in his profile. If a guy has a high score, it means he doesn't have a lot of risk factors in his profile. So when you see the number one guy, the highest score this year, it may be a bit of a shock, but it just means he is that clean of a prospect and someone I would love to have. So if we could figure it out, that'd be great. Come on, Bengals, let's do it. But no, all jokes aside, it's a long process. I do it with a bunch of people, especially Neil Engelberger. I have to give a direct shout out to. He does a lot of work, a lot of data input, a lot of data collection. You'll see the full shout out and credits on the spreadsheet, and I'll do that when it's released to the public. You're probably seeing it at this point now, so it's going to you guys. It's going to subscribers on Twitter, and we'll start it there, and then the public will get it shortly after you're here. So click the link, save the spreadsheet, and use it on draft day. Don't just download it because it may change. Some of the numbers may change. We're going to do a couple rechecks. Plus, I saw a receiver. Who was it? Was it Chris Brazell? I shouldn't be referencing it if I don't know. But a receiver is going to work out for teams on the 17th. So the sheet's already out. We will update it. So if we get new numbers, if we get anything from that, we'll update it. And we will continue to do that. Plus, I'm not done watching film on some guys. I'm over 150 prospects watched. I want to get to 180. I want to get every player the Bengals have had contact with. So I might get to 200 and try and just grind this out as fast as I can over the next 10 days or so before I'm just done at that point. Draft comes, do some film reviews, draft grades, go on vacation. Enough talking. Here's the spreadsheet. Let's go over a few guys and a few pages that I find interesting and go over some of my favorites. Guys that score really high compared to the consensus and maybe some that score low compared to the consensus. This is the 2026 draft sheet. First page I'm going to bring you to here is the consensus page. This takes in draft boards from all over the internet. We have, I believe, over about 250 draft boards in here, and it's going to give you a consensus ranking. So it'll give you an idea of, where guys should go. Doesn't mean they always will. No. What I do notice is interior offensive linemen tend to get drafted before the consensus. So if a guy, let's find one here for an example. A lot of tackles. There we go. Chase Besantis, 48th on the consensus board. I think there's a chance he goes 30th, right? That would be par for the course for what we've seen for interior offensive linemen, but it's a good resource to have. What's their age, things like that. Going in further, you'll find the Bengals pick page. You'll find the credits where we get a lot of this information from like production, relative athletic score. If these are new terms for you, it'll be in here completely and you'll be able to figure it out. Starting with quarterback, we're just going to go really quickly at some of these scores, and they're going to change. We do have some more data to put in there, but you can see Mendoza has an 85. They're not on the main page yet because the scores aren't final, so we're going quickly there. Running back. This is one of the worst running back classes we have ever scored. We've been doing the scoring since 2019. I've been doing a draft spreadsheet that was only based on film since 2011. And then the data started to creep in around 2015, 16, 17, and then really helped guide us once we could see what was PFF grading started for college in 2016. So once we realized there was data with correlations, we started to use it. And you can see, look at the scores, what you're looking at here. So, column J. You're looking for guys that 80 plus. We should go back to this, actually. I don't know if I want to go there. Best place to do this is, I'll go over, just give me a second. There we go. Go to the all-time scores page to give you an idea. And look in the middle here. You're going to see 85 plus, checks all boxes. 80, feel free to draft him wherever you may want to. You want to take him at 10, take him at 10. You want to take him at 30, take him at 30. So those are what we consider our first round grade guys, 80 plus. They're pretty clean overall. 78 is a mostly clean. Take them in the top of round 2. 75, there's some risk. You want to take them in round 2, round 3. They're day 2 picks. Fine. 73 plus is traditionally your last chance to grab a starter. Some guys under do hit. This isn't we're not hitting that 100% here. We're hitting higher than what the league has been drafting, but we're not hitting 100%. Nobody is. So once you see the score get down into the yellow, orange, and red, that represents a lot of risk in their profile. So if we go to the Bengals history page, you'll get an idea. So I'm kind of presenting this to you. Bengals hit rate. When they draft somebody at 79 plus, they're hitting at 82%. When they draft somebody at 75 plus, they're hitting at 77%. When they draft a 73 plus, they're hitting at 69%. When they go under 72, so under 73 really is what that is, they're only hitting at 31% of their picks. And you can see the top guys here, how they scored. Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow at the top, right? And if you go to all-time scores page, back to it, you will see, I'm going to scroll to the right a little bit, the teams right here that draft in the Bengals rankings the most, in our rankings the most. The Bengals only drafted 70 guys in the range of 73 plus. So they don't hit there too often. Wondering why the roster isn't the way it is, because they don't draft based on what we have often. So you can throw all this out. If you're like, the Bengals don't follow this stuff, why would I? Fair, I would take that. But let's go back to the running back page now. It's a historically bad class. Very, very bad. If you want to find a superstar, it's Jeremiah Love at the top. Would completely understand why the Bengals would take him. Jadarian Price, a solid pick, but should probably be taken in the 3rd or 4th round. Jonah Coleman should probably be taken in the 3rd round. Then you get down to like Eli Heidenreich from Navy, who is not really a running back. He does a lot of running back stuff for Navy, but he's not really. So what this means is you got a couple of options here. Maybe Emmett Johnson, a guy I like on tape a lot, is a complimentary piece. Maybe Mike Washington is a complimentary piece, an RB2. These other guys here are more than likely RB3s. Maybe Adam Randall becomes an RB2. He's got a high enough score, close to 70. But really, it's a weak class. If you end up with 3 starters being Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price, and Jonah Coleman, I wouldn't be shocked. But most of these guys look like complimentary change of pace or split duty running backs. It's really Jeremiah Love and everyone else. Moving on to, and you can see on the left side too, before we do that, the Bengals had a coach pro day contact. This will be updated soon to say top 30. In fact, I can do it right now. The Bengals had a top 30 visit with Jeremiah Love. So it didn't update. It will. We've got a guy that works on that exclusively, Andy Heffenbreck. So that'll get in there. But you can see on the left side what kind of contact the Bengals have had with each guy at each page. Okay, wide receiver. Wide receiver is one of the stronger classes, one of the strongest positions in this class. And I can see the Bengals taking one at some point. They've had a lot of contact, a lot of coaches at their pro day. Top 30 visit with Barry and Brown from LSU, who's projected to go low. But as you see here, the scores, and we can go down too, so you can see what the Bengals players would score as right now. So if they were in our formula right now with the data we have, how would they score? Jamar Chase would be a 90.1. AJ Green would be to 88.7. Because the formula changes. The more we find data that works, and the more we find data that doesn't work, we make adjustments. Does that make sense? Marvin Jones would score high. T. Higgins would score high. Tyler Boyd would score high. Ryan Whalen, decent. Jermaine Burton, just over the 73 mark. Probably should have been better. But reason why we didn't think he was worth a 3rd round pick, that 73 is like cut off for 4th, 5th round. You don't want to go any further than that. Mohamed Sanu, a 70.6. He outplayed that for sure. So it gives you an idea. And the guys at the bottom, Mario Alford, Andre Iosivas, has completely outplayed the 56.9. So these guys can do that. It's not extreme to say they'll outplay what their score is. But most of the guys, if you just took the bottom 8 scorers, the only good one is Andre Yosivas, right? All right, going to the top. And if you took the top 8 scorers, most of them are good, except for John Ross. And then maybe Ryan Whalen, who stuck on the roster for a while. So, given that he was a 7th round pick, fine. Our top scoring wide receiver this year is Mekhi Lemon. I think, and we even have a data point that's going to come. It's probably going to push him up just a little bit more. We've got to add one more small point of data still. Jordan Tyson, for a 21-year-old, his production is fantastic. You look at the data score on the right. How strong is the data for these guys? 82 for Jordan Tyson. Tyson is a data darling. Very good player too, but he's not Mekhi Lemon or Carnell Tate on tape. For me, if you look at tape grade here, JG is me. Joe Goodberry. Hello. Nice to meet you. 84 for Tate and Lemon. I think they're the 2 best receivers in here. I think KC Conception is the 3rd best receiver. And the score reflects that, actually. The score says you can take him top 15. Even though these guys are just below the 80 mark that you would like to take in the first round, this class, we only have 24 80-plus guys. So you're going to have to dip into the 79s. I don't have a problem with a team dipping into the 79 this year in this class. The first big landmine so far is Chris Brazell, the wide receiver out of Tennessee, who the Bengals had some contact and interest with. We got to update that contact page there. But if you go, he didn't test. He didn't have a great breakout age, which is something the Bengals have been. Let me go down to the Bengals. Let's look at the breakout age right here. Column X. Jamar Chase, really good. AJ Green, good. John Ross, really good. Marvin Jones, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Ryan Whalen. Who didn't? Jermaine Burton did not have a good breakout age. Mohamed Sanu, good breakout age. Josh Malone, solid, just over the 50th. Auden Tate, 77th. Cody Core, 54th. Now who are the bad guys? Again, other than Jermaine Burton. Kobe Hamilton, Charlie Jones, James Wright, and Andre Yosivas. So you want to be above the 50th percentile if you can. This is when you became a big part of your team's offense. It's not a perfect science, but most of the time it's pretty strong for trying to find a number 1, number 2 type receiver. It's rare if a guy with a 22 breakout age becomes an impact multi-time Pro Bowler. And this is including Mekhi Lemon here. So might be a complimentary piece in the NFL. Still scores well because the rest of his data is fantastic. So the first landmine is Chris Brazell. Malachi Fields, another landmine. But if I can get him in the 4th round, he's consensus 74th right now. Use this as well, the consensus data. If it says 3rd round for him, don't know if I love that. 4th round, I may be willing to take that risk. He's a big body receiver that has really good ball skills and hands and can make plays downfield. Bengals only need a wide receiver 3. I don't need one of these guys that scores super high. Your chances of hitting a player are better if you get a guy that scores super high. Like Antonio Williams, he's smaller, may only ever be a wide receiver number 3, but maybe a really, really good one with a really good score there. The late guys, or let's say 4th round, Bengals have pick 110. Man, Jacoby Lane out of USC. Talk about a George Pickens looking type receiver. That's the guy that's screaming at us here. As you see, most of the talent starts to get riskier as you get into day 3, right? These are rounds 4, 5, 6. Guy late here is Eli Heidenreich. We're going to mention him again. Navy wide receiver. Great data. I think his film is actually fun too. I would take him every time I can in mock drafts. And that's the receiver page. Tight ends. I think the Bengals will take a tight end at some point as we let this massive document load here. We can see how these tight ends would have scored for the Bengals. Tyler Eifert, 85. McLaughlin, 69. Eric All, 65. Remember, he didn't test. He had a bunch of injuries. His production was limited. He was older as a prospect, so was McLaughlin. Tyler Croft, 65. Mason Schreck is 60. CJ Uzomah, 55. There's a guy who outplayed his 4th round. He had almost no production. Drew Sample scores really, really low for us. It was a guy I actually liked on tape as a blocker, but as a day 3 pick. And, well, this tight end class outshines what the Bengals have drafted recently at that spot. Kenyon Sadiq is a superstar potential type guy. Great data. I think on tape, he's a lot of fun. I think you could hand the ball to him, jet sweeps, screens. He'd get a lot of yak for you. He is very good versus man coverage and didn't have great data versus zone, but he mostly faced zone almost exclusively. So I think his production in the NFL is going to outshine what he did in college. But they spread the ball pretty evenly at Oregon. So if you see his base production numbers, they don't look great. But if you go over to market share adjusted production, Y here, he's in the 96th percentile for production. He was highly productive at a young age in an offense that spread the ball around. Market share, what's that mean? It means if 4 guys are all catching balls, that's better than if a guy is the sole focus of an offense and they just force feed him and no one else gets the ball at all. Let's say 2 guys have 700 yards, but one offense throws for 5,000 yards and one offense throws for 1,800 yards. They're terrible passing offense, but that 700, man, that's a lot of the 1,800 total, where that 700 out of 5,000, not as impressive. Does that make sense? So it's the market share. A couple other guys here. Eli Stowers, who is pretty much a receiver for me. What do we want? Do we want another Gesicki or do we want some blockers? Because Max Clare is a good blocker. Sam Roush is a great blocker. Oscar Delp is a great blocker. Delp just below the 73 mark where I'd like to stay. He's getting pushed up boards. He didn't have the receiving production. You need to be athletic, though. Tight end is funny. The production sometimes can wane. But one thing you need to have is good testing, and that's where you go to RAS, Relative Athletic Score. Kenyon Sadiq, Eli Stowers, really good. Claire did not test. Trigg did not test. Jolie did not test. Roush, 99th percentile. Delp, 98th percentile. So you want guys that test really well. And then if you go over to the PFF formula, because that's the other part, right? We got to talk about the spreadsheet. All of this data is in here. What was his receiving grade? What was his career yards per route run? What's his average depth of target? How does that correlate to players going back to 2016? What's his missed tackles forced? The darker green boxes, higher correlation to your success in the NFL. So when I say like Kenyon Sadiq is a great prospect, 91st percentile in his missed tackles forced per reception. He's a very good player. Others that stand out to me, Eli Raridan out of Notre Dame, 2 ACL tears. He's got the Eric all in him. Does he go in the 5th round? If he does, I'm all over him. He is a blocker with verticality and great receiving production, given when he played. Tanner Koziel, pretty much just a receiver, but a very good one, and I would like to take him. If we're talking consensus, 165. We're talking 6th round. Give me Tanner Koziel. I think he'll make the roster. Daquan Wright is a guy I really liked as well. I gave a high score to him on film. He's just at the 70 mark. So we're going to have to see if he can stick on a roster. But he's supposed to go in like the 6th round. So, I mean, at a 70 in the 6th round, I'll take it. As you'll see, when we get to the 6th, if, like, let's say these are the only guys that are there. You got Suevas, who is a 73. You got Daquan Wright at a 70. And you have Will Kesmerick, who I really like as well as a blocker. Fantastic blocker. At a 69, you'll start to take those guys. They look better. You're not looking for the 80s in round 5, right? You're looking for the guys that are high 60s to low 70s if they're available still. The last guy, though, that I got to watch still, that scores really well, he's only 22 years old, Jaron Kanik, I think I say his name, out of Oklahoma. That's where I'll be watching pretty soon. So it always highlights guys for me to watch. I want to watch the guys with good profiles with a higher chance of success. We move to offensive tackle. The Bengals have done a ton of work on these guys. Look on the left side. Maui Noah, Fano, Monroe Freeland, Caden Proctor, all met at the combine. Had a top 30 visit with Austin Barber. Have done a bunch with these other guys here. Markel Bell should be added soon. He met with the Bengals the night before his pro day. Looks like a Bengal completely, 21 years old. He is 6'9", 346 pounds with 36-inch arms and an 87-inch wingspan. Bananas. Absolutely crazy. From there, look at our scores here. Maui Noah, we have these guys listed at tackle and guard if they don't have the size that you typically look for an offensive tackle. Like Maui Noah, I think he's a guard anyway. So I have a score of an 80 on him as a tackle. I have him higher as a guard. So as we flip to the guard page, he might be scored a little higher. Spencer Fano, though, is an elite prospect. He's 21 years old. His data is fantastic. 92nd percentile data. His athletic testing, 98th percentile. PFF absolutely loves him. And a lot of it, as you scroll through, you can see a lot of green and blue on his name. He is really freaking good. One of our top scoring players. He is 7th overall on the board for us. I think if a lineman does go, it should be Spencer Fano. He may be a guard. He may be a center. But his profile is one of a guy that's going to hit. If he fails, I will be shocked. Going after that, though, Monroe Freeling is the scariest of the guys talking about going top 15. I think it's a little bit rich. I liked him on tape. The flashes are really high. His high-end stuff is really good. He has the lowest of the lows. He doesn't have as many snaps as some of these other guys. And PFF, you go to the PFF grading and the stuff that correlates from year to year and predicts NFL success, they are not high on it. Our formula that we use from them on their grading, not very good for Monroe Freeling. So hopefully the Browns take him at 6 is my conclusion on that one. Caden Proctor, solid. Caleb Lomu, solid. They can go in the first round. Max Ihenachor, I think is his name. I like had a glitch there. Blake Miller, 81. He's the guy to target based on data. If you're getting at the end of round 1, he's 37th on the consensus, or in the beginning of round 2, that's the guy. So which swing tackles should we be looking at? The Bengals are going to do it in rounds 3, 4, and later. So we're talking these guys here probably, let's say. I've only watched a handful of them at this point, but I've tried to collect it because it seems like the Bengals will catch up on these swing guys. Austin Barber, who out of Florida, again, 6'7", 318, 33-inch arms, 80-inch wingspan, kind of a mauler. He's a little bit older. He'll be 23 as a rookie. We're talking swing, though. Scores really well for us. Brian Parker scores really well for us, but he's got sub 33-inch arms and a 79-inch wingspan. Parker is probably going to play guard or center in the NFL. And I'm cool with him. If you want to take him in the third round and play him in interior, I'm in. But I also think he could give you some emergency or swing tackle flexibility. I don't think he's completely terrible for that. Other guy I like was Gage Casey. He ended up scoring lower for us, 71.7, so just under the range of finding a starter. But if we're looking for a swing tackle, we're probably not needing a starter. The landmine, the guy I'm avoiding is Demetrius Crownover. I didn't think he was good on tape. In fact, I should probably have a number on there. I thought he was pretty poor. Lots of penalties, lunging over his feet in a lot of ways. I got to watch Trey Zune. He scores well for us despite going to be 24 years a rookie. Markel Bell, I have watched, does not score well for us. Did not test. Testing is important for offensive tackles, but he's gigantic. And I thought he looked good when I watched him in the playoffs. So there are some guys here to consider. J.C. Davis, Diego Pounds does not score well for us. Emil Wagner from Notre Dame does score. So, there's Travis Burke being another one. Travis Burke scores well for us too. Is absolutely mauling right tackle out of Memphis. So if you're talking 6th round, take Travis Burke with a 70 score. You're not expecting a starter in the 6th round anyways. Moving on to interior offensive linemen. You'll see Maui Noah scored a little bit higher. You'll see Fano scored a little bit higher. Top guy to talk about, though, that we haven't yet is Vega Ioane, Penn State guard. I think he's worth a first-round pick. 81 on tape. Had he have tested, because we got a 75, that's a placement holder when you see it in red. Any first-round pick that doesn't test, which is becoming more common, we try to give them a little bit benefit of the doubt. The 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th round guys get a 50. So the first-round guys tend to be more athletic, right? That's why they're going in the first round. But let's say he would have tested like a great athlete. We can do this, right? Put him at a 90. He would have been an 82. So really strong. They would have moved him up to 15th on the board. But he didn't test. And I can't assume that he's some elite athlete. And we'll put it back to where it was to hit the back button, which brings the score to a 79, which is a fringe. I say the 79 guys are a fringe first round. And that brings him to 31. He's going to get overdrafted. As I said, I started with this interior offensive lineman will get overdrafted. You could probably put at least 10 to 15 spots on him. And if he goes at 16, I would not be shocked. Other guards that make a ton of sense that pass the bar. Jennings Dunker, Pregnon. Who doesn't pass it? Chase Pasantis. He's getting first round talk. This is a guy who lunges, plays over his toes, has poor balance. The longer the play goes on, he's bad in true pass sets. I would not be in on him. I didn't think he was good. I think he's worth a 4th round pick. I think someone's taking a significant risk. If you take a 70 score player in round 2, you're assuming a lot of risk there. The guy I did like on tape decently well was Connor Lew, the center out of Auburn. And he didn't test. Had he have tested, though. So, again, this is very similar. We can go down to look at the guards that the Bengals have drafted. Zeitler, Dylan Fairchild. This is with no testing on Dylan Fairchild at 73.6. We had a 50 on him for not testing. It took him down to like a 68. So I wanted to bring that up because like Billy Price is a 73, barely over the starter category. Volson just under the starter. Jackson Carman a 72. Jalen Rivers a 70. Hakeem Adeniji, back in the day, Dalton Reisner scored very well for us. So what I mean there is, go to Connor Lew. Let's say he would have been a pretty good athlete. Not going all the way high. Let's go to an 85. Where would they have brought him? To a 75. The problem is that athletic testing is really important for offensive linemen because it separates the big guys from the guys that are big and athletic, right? And we want big athletic guys. You find more success drafting offensive linemen when they're high on athletes. But Lou could have a good score if we don't consider his non-testing here as a big negative. And you may say, well, most guys aren't testing. Not most. Look at the RAS on the side here. It's not that most guys aren't testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of the top, 40 guys we got here, only 5 didn't test. So, when you don't do that, it raises a little bit of a flag. But you can go to the Bengals and interior offensive linemen and look at the guys who haven't tested. Let's go all the way over. Dylan Fairchild didn't test. Jackson Carman didn't test. Billy Price should be an NA also. He didn't test. I don't know what that was there from a placeholder being a first round pick, being a 75. Look at the 3 guys who didn't test here. Jackson Carman, Billy Price, Dylan Fairchild. We'll go to the offensive tackle position and do that for them too. So let's look at the offensive tackles who did not test for the Bengals. RAS here. Cedric Aboye, Jackson Carman. I mean, I don't want to keep rolling that dice, the Cedric Aboye, Billy Price, Jackson Carman dice to get one Dylan Fairchild. So I prefer if these guys test. So who are some of these interior guys that look good later? Sam Hesh passes the bar. Logan Jones passes the bar. Jake Slater passes it in flying colors, gets a first-round grade. He's 21, Jake Slater, on our spreadsheet. And this is with him being an older guy. Brian Parker at center or interior offensive line, 27th overall on our board. Any late guys here that really stand out? We got one, Micah Morris, guard out of Georgia. This guy was 334 at the combine. He was like 350 at his pro day. He is massive. Reminds me of Michael Onwenu just a bit at guard there. Remember him from Michigan, went to the Patriots, has had a good career. Micah Morris scores really well in pass protection. That's been the guy I've been identifying on day 3. Okay, edge position. Hopefully the Bengals are dipping here, maybe even double dipping. Let's get this pass rush right. Again, athletic testing and production. Super important for this position. A lot of correlation here for this position. At the top, we got Unveiled, Reese, right? David Bailey, Ruben Bain. All pass it. You want to take Reese at 2? Go ahead. You want to take David Bailey at 2? I would suggest it. You want to take Ruben Bain at 2, 5, 10? Great. Go ahead. All of them pass it, which is good for us. We don't want to draft the Shamar Stewart, right, in the first round. When I go and show you the final board, I don't think there is one. I think we'll be okay. Even Keldrick Falk, if you say, man, Falk feels like Stewart, he's not. He scores a lot higher than him. His production is really good because his run defense is really good. And because Auburn wasn't really great on defense, didn't get a ton of sacks as a team, his handful of sacks are quality in terms of market share. Plus, he did it while he was young. He's 21.6. So, also tested decent, 90.9. Top guys that didn't test, Arvell Reese, Ruben Bain didn't test, Akeem Messidor didn't test. Little scary. You want these guys to test well. Of the PFF data guys, they don't like Keldrick Falk. So it depends on what you want to use here. A lot of information that will say good players, bad players, and whatever. Akeem Messidor, on tape, I gave him an 82. On tape, he is impressive. He is 25. He's had multiple injuries as well. Really knocks down what his production looks like because it's age adjusted production also. Market share adjusted, MSA, market share adjusted. Age is one of the adjustments. Strength of schedule is one of the adjustments. TJ Parker is the data darling at edge rusher. I didn't like him as much on tape. Even Mike Santagata right here, 79. I had a 78. That's second round. You want to take him at 41? I'd take TJ Parker at 41 with a 78 grade. The data says we are underrating him. He is 8th overall on our board. Someone's going to take him, and I'm really curious to watch his career and see how he goes and see if he can really develop. He's only 21 years old. If he can develop into that dude that the data says he will be. Cassius Howell. He's the length outlier. Ruben Bain is one, but the outlier is Cassius Howell. Just absolutely terrible. Look at his wingspan over here. 74 inches. Go to Ruben Bain. 77. So 3 inches less on wingspan for Cassius Howell. But boy, does he get off. Is he explosive? Is he bendy around the corner? And he scores well. I'll take him in round 2. Zion Young, I am out on in round 2. So I wouldn't take Akeem Messidor in the first round. I wouldn't take Zion Young in round 2. I think on tape, he was like a third rounder, high third rounder. He is just so lethargic off the line. He needs an invitation to get out of his stance. And I'm not interested in that for defensive end. R. Mason Thomas, big fan of him on tape. He comes out worthy of the pick at 41. Gabe Akis, 16th overall on our board. I like him in round 2. The data says like him more than that. He's worthy of a first-round pick. If he's the pick at 41, we are high-fiving and having a good time with that. Malachi Lawrence, liked him on tape. 76, or say third round would feel good. You can take him in round 2. Go to some of the edge guys in the Bengals history. Joseph Osai was a 79. Carl Lawson was a 78. Jordan Willis, 77.9. Miles Murphy, 73.9 using today's formula. Shamar Stewart was a 71.4. So if you get an idea of like a 71 for Shamar, that's taking Akeem Messidor. That's that type of risk. That's taking Zion Young in round 2. That's the risk you're looking at. Hubbard, though, didn't score really well for us. Didn't have great testing. Didn't have great market share data. But, we liked Hubbard, and Hubbard turned out to be pretty good. So what would be the comparison? You take a 69.70 in round 3, let's say. Romello Height or Joshua Josephs or Keon Crawford. I think that could make sense as a comparison. Trey Hendrickson, Boye Mafe, both of them 80 plus. If you're talking about, like, Trey was a third round pick, 80.6. He had great data, great production, great testing. Boye Mafe did as well in a lot of ways. So those guys would be up here competing with them, with the top guys. So is there anyone in really, if we don't get one in round 2, if it's not a Derek Moore in round 3, if it's not Denai Dennis Sutton in round 3, because those are the guys they're saying you should target. Jayshawn Barham, who I've targeted a bunch in mock drafts. Harold Perkins, is there still some pass rush upside to him? And one of the later guys here is Trey Moore, Sam, kind of linebacker type, edge defender out of Texas. Moving on to defensive tackle, it is a weaker class overall. Go to the bottom here, you can see what Geno Atkins looks like. He was an 81.5. Devon Still was a very good prospect. Chris Jenkins was a 77, to give you some example. Andrew Billings was a 75. Andrew Brown, who I did like, 72.6, so below the cutoff of a 73. Marcus Hardison below the cutoff. Brandon Thompson, Zachary Carter, Ryan Glasgow, a lot of names here, right? McKinley Jackson, Vernell Wren, and then Tyler Shelvin, who never did anything. So as you can see, the data, the score comes out pretty relatively successful here at defensive tackle. So what do we got? None of them has a first round grade, 80 plus. Nobody hits it. So you shouldn't be taking Peter Woods here. I wouldn't be mad if a team takes him in the 20s. He's 41 on our board. Sounds great. Caleb Banks, very risky player as well. He's 23, had middling production, continued to get hurt. Caden McDonald, for a nose tackle, he's a 76.2. For a nose, this is an incredibly strong grade. They don't grade well. Go to the other noses. Lee Hunter, Christian Miller, who I think is, Dominique Orange. They're not going to score well. These aren't positions that are going to accumulate a lot of tackles. The data is flawed here. I understand it. I said this when they took McKinley Jackson. Where's McKinley Jackson here? At a 62 in round 3. I said it when they took Tyler Shelvin at a 50. They could be better than what the score indicates. The reason it scores them this low is because day 3 nose tackles often overshoot the day 2 and day 1 nose tackles. They are not worth taking in the first round because it is probably the biggest individual crapshoot position in terms of data because there's not a lot of data for them. They're not going to make the tackles. They're eating the double team so the linebacker can make the tackle. So the data is going to be not strong, which means you probably shouldn't target them. So a 76 for McDonald is fantastic. He is a very good nose tackle prospect. The guys I do like here, you see him lit up in blue. Grayson Holton out of Oklahoma. I think second round grade on him. They say go ahead and take him in the second round. He is projected to go in the third round based on the consensus. Next one, LT Overton. Kind of an edge D-tackle tweener. I liked him in day 3 to 4th round. This is saying 4th round at 103. We pick 110. He's a bit of a tweener. He's going to be, if you're hoping for a John Franklin Myers type development, and he's young. Next one is Zane Durant out of Penn State. I like him in round 2 on tape. This says, yeah, you want to take him at the end of round 2 with a 77? Go ahead. He's a 5th round consensus guy. I would love to get someone like that. Landon Robinson. Met with the Bengals, had a bunch of contact. Look at the left side there of that column. Bunch of contact with the Bengals. Didn't get invited to the combine. He's projected to go in the 6th round. He gets a good score. He's worth it. Even though he's 5'11", 291, stubby. He is a pain in the butt to block. I would be in on that if we're getting that late. Renee Conga out of Louisville. Some of the interesting names there. Caden Proctor, I did like on tape. He absolutely killed LSU in that game. But if you go over, let's go to athletic testing. 91st percentile for athletic testing. That's good. PFF says he's good. 68th percentile. That's good, especially if we're talking third, fourth round. The problem is because when he played at Southeast Louisiana, the production is going to be, because it's strength of schedule adjusted, is getting adjusted hard on him right there. But he's only 22, fresh 22, right around the draft. He's going to be a guy I'm going to be interested in. He's under the threshold of what you're looking for a starter. But I bet he goes higher than what this 162 consensus is. I wouldn't be shocked if he outplays it. The small school guys that are really good, their production scores are going to be low. They almost should have their own barometer, but it is what it is. And I'll be interested to see if Caden Proctor can outplay that. Linebacker, super strong class. Again, look at all these 78s and 75s throughout. Arvell Reese is at edge and linebacker, scores a little lower at linebacker. He's got the upside. You're probably drafting him because of the combination of the two. Sonny Styles gets an elite grade. He's 12th on our board at an 83 score. He's got great data. His production is over what you would want, an 82nd percentile. It's not elite production, but his testing was elite. PFF says he was good, not amazing. And it's because it takes in career data. So if you're wondering about that, if you're wondering like, oh, Jacob Rodriguez at a 78.8, yeah, because that's career and he's been good for a long time. And he's one of the older guys at 23.6. You see all the younger guys at the top: Arvell Reese, Sonny Styles, CJ Allen, Anthony Hill, Josiah Trotter, who the Bengals met with. That'll be updated soon. A lot of guys with round 2 type grades. Trotter does not score well. He's the only one of this second round grouping that I would suggest to have some patience with or concern with. He did not test. His production was pretty good. PFF, not high on him. You go over in a lot of red. He didn't do anything in coverage. You really can't count on that. He's really just a downhill run defender, blitzer, attacking middle linebacker. I would like to have him in a 3-4 defense to do that, but it's not like he's the biggest guy either. He's under 6'2", 237, so a little bit of caution for him. But these other guys are all worthy of a second-round pick. CJ Allen a little bit lower than the other guys, but again, worthy. Jayshon Barham, he's the Sam linebacker I want, I think. I would like Jake Golday as well. He may be the best fit, but I really like the value of getting a Barham 30 picks after Golday. What's Golday? 55 and Barham's 102? Almost 50 picks after. So I like that. Stay away from Deontay Lawson. Stay away from Torian York, even though I liked him on tape. He's absolutely tiny. Caleb Elarms or scores very high. You want a 4th, 5th round linebacker that's going to outplay everything? It's Caleb Elarms or in this draft. If you're a shadow team drafter, I'm trying to get him on day 3. Perkins has some upside still. Bryce Betcher, liked him on tape enough. Didn't score above the threshold of a starter. The day 3 guy, currently 151. Jimmy Rolder out of Michigan. The Bengals have taken a lot of Michigan targets. Give me Jimmy in the 4th. They don't have a 5th. I'd love him in the 5th if he's going to be there. But yeah, that's the guy. And then Trey Moore is the guy that stands out as the Sam. If you miss all your Sam linebackers and he's still there in the 6th, I'm in on Trey Moore. Move to corner. Corner, we got to talk about pick 10 and how they score. Mansour Delane gets an 81, which is respectable. He's 19th on the board. He's worthy of the pick at 10. But you're going to see the guy right next to him, and it's an 88.6 for Jermod McCoy. He is number 2 overall on our board. The data absolutely loves him because he's not even 21 yet. Mansour Delane is 22. If you wonder why that matters, cornerback shelf life, their prime starts at 23 years old, and it goes only until about 27. So you've got a finite window of hitting their prime. If a guy is already 22 as a rookie, year 3, like you better be good, Mansour Delane. I mean, not year 3, year 2. You better be good, Mansour Delane. You've got a little bit longer of a runway with Jermod McCoy. And for him to show that what he did when he was 19 years old, impressive stuff. That's very good data on him. I'll scroll to the right a little bit so you can get an idea because it's a good corner class. Mansour Delane did not test. He ran his 40 at his pro day. He didn't do anything else. Jermod McCoy did at his private workout. So, points from what the difference between the two of them are. If I were to say that Mansour Delane is also an elite athlete, let's just say a 90. Not crazy, but good. he would have an 84 grade. So that would get much closer. That would put him ninth on the board. So if the Bengals think he's a good athlete and worthy of that, go ahead and take him, right? Guys in the top 12 that don't test tend to work out still. But if you go over, the grading for McCoy is really, really good. A lot of these guys, honestly, spend some time on this page. Look at the man coverage for Mansour Delane, Jermon McCoy. Look at it for Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson will be the third cornerback taken. So let's go back. The only one that really got hurt, and I love Davion Terrell, and I would still take him. He ran incredibly slow, had a poor pro day, comes in at a 70.6. Hurts my heart because I really think he's good. Colton Hood, worth a first-round pick, 17th on the board. 11th on the board is Chris Johnson. 10th on the board is D'Angelo Pons. When I said D'Angelo Pons was the top 15 prospect in this class, his data is amazing. And it's got a strong correlation to success. I don't care that he's small. Put him in the slot then. He is going to be good. Chris Johnson's going to be good. Jermon McCoy's got a great shot to be good. Mansour Delane's got a good shot to be good. These are the guys you want. Colton Hood, sure. I like him a little bit less on tape. He's a little bit unpredictable at times, but he's good. Solid guys to take in the third round. Maybe not second. Brendan Cisse. Keith Abney maybe in the second. Malik Muhammad maybe in the third. And I'm not a big fan of the Ohio State guy that I'm not even Davison. I'm not even going to say his last name. I mess it up every time. Devin Moore. I mean, the penalties were just, he got so much better, but the penalties are just something I can't live with. Devin Moore, good third round pick. Chandler Rivers, 79.9. He's 26 on the board. He's there in the third, 90th consensus. In on that, please. Julian Neal, I'm in on that in the third round. Dalen Everett, I'm in on that in the third round. So you go down, who are some of the sleeper guys? Jaden Kennedy as a slot guy. Devin Marshall, probably a slot guy. He ran slow. Not a lot of mines here and tripwires to really worry about. There's a lot of young guys at the top that tested really well and score really well. Davion Terrell, I would probably bet against this. The data will go to his testing. He's the only guy who tested poorly. This is the Mike Hilton range testing. Maybe he's just Mike Hilton. He's physical. He tackles well. I'm still in. I'd probably take that bet at 41. Moving on to safety. And we've got our number one player on the board. It is not Caleb Downs. It is Dylan Thieneman. Dylan Thieneman is our highest scoring player this year at a 91 overall. His data, 94.4, incredibly high. And if you look at the tape grades, Sands has an 89. I've got an 87. I've got an 82 on Thieneman. Sands doesn't watch them yet. I don't think they're close on tape. I think Caleb Downs is everything I would want from a safety on tape. I love the way he reacts, hits, flies in there, makes plays on the ball, dislodges receivers at the catch point. Like, he's good. You watch the film review on that with me. You watch the film on Dylan Thieneman. I think he is good also. The data is just incredibly strong for Dylan Thieneman. He's 99th percentile production, 97th percentile for relative athletic score. PFF data that has the most correlation. I'm not saying he scored higher than Caleb Downs. The data that says he's going to be successful in the NFL is super strong for him and Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. McNeil-Warren gets hit from playing at a small school in terms of production. Take him in the first round if you want. Not no problem with that. If Caleb Downs would have tested like a high-end athlete, where would he have been? Let's say 90 percentile. 87.8, he would have been fourth overall on the board. So I'm telling you, I love Downs for pick 10. I know he's not going to test, and he didn't test, and we got to put a 75 on him, so it is what it is. Everything else says go ahead and take him if you want to take him. I'm just saying Dylan Thieneman is the cleanest, safest prospect of the 2026 draft. And if we want to come back in 5 years and he's a bust and you want to laugh at me, go ahead. I bet he isn't. The other guys at safety, strong safety class. And we have Keontae Scott at safety because he didn't do a lot of man coverage. He doesn't score well. I like Keontae Scott. He's fast. He's aggressive. He tackles. He just may never be anything more than cornerback number 3. I think that's reflective in that score. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, again, he gets hit from playing at Toledo. Toledo's pumped out some secondary players. I don't have a problem if you want to take him in round 1. AJ Halsey, though, round 2 target, yeah, I'm in. Kamari Ramsey, round 2 target, I'm in. Round 3 guys, Jalen Kilgore, I'm in. Genesis Smith, actually don't like him on tape at all. Hope you don't take him. The data says I'm wrong. Take him in round 3. That even says take him in round 2 at 78. VJ Payne, you want to take him in the 4th round? Feel free. Michael Taft, didn't watch him yet, but data says he's good. Jalen Husky, 159. He wasn't completely off the consensus at one point, and the data said he's actually good. Glad to see him in the top 160 now. You want to take him in the 5th round, 4th round? feel free. Any late guys, Bishop Fitzgerald is good. We've got Wydett Williams over here from Ole Miss. We've got Miles Scott as a guy that could probably make your roster. Some of these other guys, though, Traden Stukes, I liked a lot on tape. Traden Stukes looks like a fringe first-round pick, can do everything, but he's 25, which knocks his production. Bud Clark doesn't test like a starter or doesn't grade out like a starter. Zakee Wheatley doesn't grade out like a starter. So there's a couple of landmines here of guys you probably like, but the data says there's a little bit of risk on them. So have fun poking through this and seeing how the board looks. Here's the main page that gives you the board, gives you their tape grade, the athletic testing, the data score, the consensus. You can click on this and go to some film of these guys. You see the Dylan Thieneman video review from Bengals on the Brain presented by First Star Logistics. Click on it if you want to remember when the Bengals take them at pick 10. Feel free. The top of the board is Thieneman, McCoy, Bailey, Love, Sadiq, Caleb Downs, Spencer Fano, TJ Parker, Arvell Reese, D'Angelo Pons, Chris Johnson, Sonny Styles, Ruben Bain. Some shocking, I know, but draft season, it's not going to go the exact way you expect it. We've been pretty good with this.